trusted sources and take practical steps to prepare your plans and protect yourself and loved ones. Need help and support? Please contact us at the hotline 311 Psychosocial Support at 722-6575 or 518-4157. Brought to you by PAHO, the OACS Commission, and UNICEF.
I can't
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. It is the middle of the work week, Wednesday, April 7th, 2021. As always, it is a pleasure having you here. And let's say good morning to those of you watching us on television on channel 124 on a flow that is UTV Underground Television. We appreciate it every day that you are with us. If you're also listening to us on our radio partner station, that is Hits FM 92.1 and 91.1 FM, good morning to you too. And we cannot forget where it is on the different social media platforms where we are on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Twitch, he just said to me, on TikTok, and also on YouTube. So we are everywhere. Good morning, everybody. Okay, Usa. We have had some instances where we're seeing violence and everything of the sort, and for many people, we haven't yet seen someone who's in the in the public, so to speak, more into news and more on the radio talk shows and different places. Peter Ras Isaac last evening was shot. I think the details are still sketchy, so we're going to wait until the authorities tell us what went on there. But we do have some images from last evening, so I think we could take a look at that right now. And this is right there on Jeremy Street in Castries. So for now, we haven't been able to contact Mr. Isaac. I understand from his relatives and friends that he is in stable condition, but until we can hear from him, I would like to know what happened then. But we do have some short clips of his, demeanor, how he was last evening. So let's take a look.
So you can run them, mister?
I don't know.
Hey, Ras Alpa there?
Yeah.
Hey, Ras Alpa, you should go like that?
Shot me, hey, shot me, you see this? Hey, shot me.
That's you, Bessie. Where the dress is the place there?
I'm trying to drop out the trouble. No, I wasn't trying to do nothing now. So why me? Alright, just let me get it.
Hey. Where the dress is the place there? They shoot iPad in his leg there?
I mean, I don't know what it is about solutions, about us, where we could take some of the most, tragic things, many of us, and find some humor in it. And for some people, I know that the lady speaking over the video, that has somehow become a meme, a gif where people, just say, hey, true, sort of thing. But in reality, right now, this is a very worrying thing for us to see the continued violence. And yes, we looked at COVID wardens running behind people in fields, and I mean, we're in 2021, but you could have easily put it in 17 and 1800s, black people just running behind each other, trying to bring back to the bosses, that kind of thing. And with this one, again, the details are not concrete, so I don't want to say much of anything, but it does say to me that there are people who clearly are more, they're getting trigger happy, and they're more open to using that kind of force. So again, we wish Peter Isaac speedy recovery, and we're looking to see, you know, how he fares after that incident. But it does bring me again to other things. We did have a discussion about the COVID wardens, and I think every time I'm going to see it, I have to put it out there because we need to see what we are becoming as a country and what we are allowing as a country as well. We have more, my sisters like to call it receipts. We have more of that, where we're seeing COVID wardens going on and doing what they think they have to do, doing what they have been told to do by the authorities, to just take down people in any way that they feel, because you know what, they're not liable for anything. If you think that they're using excessive force, and that is what I think, that's a major issue for us here. But let's take a look at what happened recently.
A police operation in the Jean-Baptiste Street Conway area last Friday resulted in one arrest. While some of the residents, business owners and bystanders cry foul, the police say he was arrested for obstruction and coughing at them. Senior correspondent Miguel Favre was on the scene and filed this report.
It was a contingent of over 20 law enforcers, both uniformed police and COVID wardens, on the afternoon of Friday, March 26, led by a female police inspector seen here in khaki. They searched the nooks and crannies of the General Jean-Baptiste Street Conway area, from blocks to shops. And while most were compliant, despite their verbal expressions of defiance and annoyance, police eventually set their sights on one man. He was searched during the operation, but was engaged in a verbal exchange with the officers surrounding him, particularly one female police officer. The young man continued to mouth off at the police officers. And as warned, the police did bring him down. As the contingent of police officers and wardens appeared to be making their way back to their waiting patrol vehicles, the female officer motioned to another colleague to arrest the man, causing a frenzy to erupt on Jean-Baptiste Street. And as the police placed him in the back of the pickup, we sought comment from witnesses.
I don't like what happened there, Miguel. I understand the police have their duties to do. You have your work to do. You come in and whatever orders they ask you to follow, you follow your orders. But if you come in and deal with citizens, guys, you could talk to somebody without bull-ragging the person and feeling like the person is a threat, because the person is not a threat. I have every right to say, I don't feel comfortable with the manner you're doing your duties. But you don't have no reason to come and pull my shirt and make me feel like I'm doing some kind of crime in the place because I tell you I don't like the way you perform in your duties. There are so many crimes happening in the place and nobody is saying nothing. The police, I heard the police come and say nothing about the person they get in Bossejou, but they come and terrorize people in town for mass. A mass, Gaza.
On Jean-Baptiste Street, business owners complained to this reporter that officers entered his establishment while he was alone and demanded that he don a mask or face arrest. Now, Fridays was the second such operation in the area in as many days. Video footage emerged of COVID wardens searching young men in the same area the day before.
Well, from what we understand, they say they have a video circulating around with guns. But if the video circulating in a house, it's circulating. You see it happening in a house. Why not going to homes? Going to the homes where you know the hotspots are. You're like going there. You're coming and bull rap people on the streets and ill people on the streets, guys. And I feel threatened as a citizen, because if now I can't talk for my own rights, I feel like the police will come and beat me if I say something. And that's what happening there now, you know. Police raising their hand on people when people talk for their rights. We have every right. We live in a democratic country. In any election coming, we have the voice. We come in. Just let them know that we have the voice. We're coming.
Another regular there believes that the Conway area is being unfairly targeted.
I think the police is after this side. For the past 2 days, they have been on this side. It's like they were looking for something on this side of town. What this side town have? Just women and guys hanging out. You know, we come from work, we relax.
A homicide just took place over there recently. You think this may have something to do with it? They may be searching for something around here?
Are you talking about the homicide with the lady from the Grizzly bus stand?
Yes.
This block have nothing to do with that. Where they have to go and look, they're not looking.
Now we reached out to police sources for more information on Friday's operation and subsequent arrest. According to their account, there was an operation in the area, and on arrival, the young man in question was shouting and following them. He was cautioned, they say, and when officers left for another location, he followed. The police continued to caution him, and when they returned to the original area, he returned as well, allegedly coughing and asking whether, quote, they are afraid of COVID. The young man was cautioned again, according to police sources, and finally arrested for obstruction, failing to wear a mask, and disorderly behavior. He was charged for all offenses. The police, however, have not disclosed the nature of Thursday and Friday's operations. And that's it for this report. I am Miguel Favre.
So I don't know what you feel as you saw that report. Maybe you'll call later and you'll let me know. But it does strike me as odd, not too odd really, that if you're going to speak to police officers in a way and if you're going to follow them as the video showed, then you will get some kind of response to that. But I also feel with what we've seen around the country, we cannot expect people who feel like they're being harassed, who think that they are getting the short end of the stick when everybody else, the tourists and everybody else, they get to just continue to do what they want. So again, I think in the way that we're dealing with the public, you cannot systematically, continually harass members of the public and then turn around and say, can you help me solve this, or can you help me give me information on that? I think the relationship between members of the public and the police, it's disintegrating right before us, and you know, it's not working. I don't think it's working at all. When people feel attacked by the people that are supposed to help them in these situations, it's not going to bode well, especially when we know that the COVID wardens, you know, you have a week of training, virtual training, and then you're a police officer. And I know that I've seen police officers saying that no matter what happens, stand by your own, stand by the police. And that's dangerous thinking. If no matter what happens, police have to stay, you know, have to stay together, that kind of thing. That can't be right. But it also brings us to a point where, okay, we're getting that. We know what it looked like. We know we saw people and police all in by the river. I mean, running, playing cops and robbers must have in a field, all kinds of things that we saw over the weekend when, you know, they're putting the attention on nationals, on St. Lucians. But clearly, it's not the same everywhere with the COVID response.
How many international visitors who have entered St. Lucian ports this year tested positive for COVID-19? In 2020, the Health Ministry regularly included data on non-nationals who contracted the virus. Information on COVID-positive non-nationals, however, has not been specified in recent news releases issued from the Ministry of Health. NBC Prime can confirm between March 16 to 29, 5 U.S. visitors tested positive for COVID-19.
Health authorities have registered some successes in the now years-long management of the COVID-19 crisis. More than 21,000 people have received their first shot of the COVID-19 vaccine. The devastating third wave of the pandemic experienced during the months of January and February has receded. The national COVID-19 infection rate by the end of March hovered at around 12%. However, the Health Ministry's reporting on COVID-positive non-nationals has been inconsistent in recent weeks. Between March 16th to the 29th, 5 United States visitors tested positive for COVID-19. The Health Ministry issued 11 press releases on COVID-19 infections in that time. Unlike previous press releases from the Health Ministry, the status of the 5 COVID-positive non-nationals was not specified. NBC Prime did request comment from the Health Ministry's communication unit. We did not get a reply. Citing the COVID-19 incidence rate in St. Lucia, the United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, still does not recommend any travel to the island despite the recent declines in the domestic COVID-19 infection rate. The CDC reviewed and updated its travel health notice for St. Lucia on April 2nd, maintaining its level 4 very high level advisory imposed on the Caribbean destination since last November. The CDC's no travel advisory, however, has not totally dissuaded U.S. holidaymakers from flying to St. Lucia. Last year, more than 40,000 visitors from the United States, Canada, and UK vacationed on island.
A special committee has been established to provide oversight to the resumption of cruise tourism.
Tourism officials are also gearing up to welcome the return of the cruise ship sector in June. Almost 19% of the U.S. population is fully vaccinated against COVID-19. But health experts worry the spread of other COVID-19 variants is outpacing the U.S.'s aggressive immunization program. The B117 UK variant has been detected in all 50 states. St. Lucia does not have the capacity to test for COVID-19 variants. Along with other CARICOM countries, St. Lucia relies on the labs at the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, headquartered in Trinidad, to test for new strains. It can take up to 4 weeks before the test results are transmitted. The B11 strain, first detected in the UK last September, has also been found in St. Lucia. CARPHA reported the findings to St. Lucia's Health Ministry back in January, some 4 weeks after 5 people, among them 2 England residents and 3 St. Lucians, tested positive in December. The Health Ministry sends CARPHA up to 10 samples for testing every week, according to the Chief Medical Officer. As of March 29th, 15 people were confirmed positive for the UK variant. That number hasn't changed since February. Rihani Isidore, NBC Prime.
This is showing us, I think, what we have always known. So you hear in that report that there are tourists with COVID, but they're not being put in the press releases. So you have, and we've seen a decline in the numbers, but not necessarily a decline in the deaths that we're having. We're over 60 now, and I do not think it is a time for us to, just let things go, and we're in a good place right now. We know that. But again, when you're trying to build trust within a country, you cannot continue to have people, with the police and the wardens feeling like you got musty pale the moon, and then you also have press releases being given by health authorities where we do not have all the information. We get, the 11 and 10 right now COVID cases, but then we're not getting the non-national still. We continue to see the disparity. We continue to see the double standard with the way that we are treated and with the way others, foreigners, are treated as well. I think that was a very timely report, and I have to thank Rihanna for that, because there's so much happening that we seem to have forgotten so many of the other issues. Every day is a scandal. So thanks for telling us that and letting us know. But I think too, we also have to be reminded that we're going to be getting the second doses of the COVAX vaccine. Let's take the AstraZeneca vaccine. Let's take a look at the next image, where it's saying that today it'll be live, or it started already on the Government of St. Lucia Facebook and YouTube pages. The COVAX vaccine arrivals are coming in. And I mean, we've already spoken about that. I don't want to get into it, because I do feel it's so disheartening to know that we were told 6 weeks that you would be getting the second dose. You get 20,000 doses, you give it all out, not leaving anything as a sort of safety net, that if anything happens, that we would be okay. And instead, and thank God, health authorities say, it's not 6 weeks anymore, it's 8 weeks. And I don't think we should be celebrating the way we did the first time when the doses came and everything like that. I know many people are still worried because, yeah, you can get the first shot of the vaccine, but when you need the second and you were told last week you'd be getting it, and just today alone, you're getting it, and you're not getting it in the numbers that you thought, because I remember the Prime Minister saying that we'll be getting that COVAX vaccine in the middle of March, and it took until April. So, you know what, we're going to see how things progress, and I have to continue to just encourage, please, can we just get the truth? Can we get it unvarnished? Just tell us what is going on in the country. I know you guys want to be back with the United States, and you want the CDC to move you all from level 4 to level 2, so the tourists could come. But people need to trust you. People need to trust you, and I don't think with what is happening here in all different parts of this COVID response that it's making any sense. We'll be right back.
I can't stay.
La vaccine COVID-19 cette lisi, ekse pou moun ki an l'âge 18 l'année et moutan, moun ki ka travay a département santé ki wiskab, dokter, nos, polis, pompier, moun ki ni pisadou, kanser, batman chè, Tresha, l'oppression, epi moun ki an l'âge 65 l'année et moutan. Ou pani pou paye pou la vaccine, epi yo pa ka oblige ou point. Registration sa fait online en tout health center ek epi dokter privé. Vacciner pour vous, pour ça ou, et puis pour nous.
The future of outward performance begins today.
Apêcher maladie à tout piché ou pas jouer avec corona, point vaccin là. Apêcher maladie à tout piché ou pas jouer avec corona, point vaccin là. Apêcher maladie à tout piché ou pas jouer avec corona, point vaccin là. Pas jouer.
Ça c'est une commission haute association médicale et dentale en cette liste.
ITEL BPO's opening reaffirms the advent of a new beginning for Vieux Fort, a town which many years ago used to be the epicenter of St. Lucia's booming sugar industry. That was until the industry collapsed, followed by a flight of capital from the town that caused it to be eclipsed by Castries and other areas of the north. My ministry is proud to be presiding over the revitalization of Vieux Fort. There will be no turning back as we work to ensure that the town regains its status as an economic powerhouse with a focus on developing industries related to data processing, information technology, artificial intelligence, robotics, and other futuristic investments.
And so a large part of what we're attempting to do here in the South is people. It's about improving the quality of life of St. Lucians and taking advantage of this incredible piece of land in the South, which just to the naked eye, everybody could see how underutilized it was. And so to transform to today, to bring in a facility like this, and I'm looking forward to seeing it inside, in which I think the young persons who are going to be getting jobs here would be very proud. And that this is now a world-class facility. And I've certainly had the opportunity to visit the back of the office operations in Jamaica and certainly in the US. And what I've seen here is as good, or if not better, than many of the facilities I've seen around the world. So I really want to congratulate Invest St. Lucia.
ITEL BPO selected St. Lucia for its 6th location due to its labor force. The Jamaican company opened its doors in the south on June 29th and has been looking for potential employees. A job fair at its Viewport location saw hundreds lining up outside the Uranora Free Zone in the scorching heat, hoping to get a shot at gainful employment.
St. Lucia is familiar to us. In 2007 I opened a call center here for Sandals Resorts. So from back then I knew the abilities of what the skilled labor here in St. Lucia had to offer. And with the help of Invest St. Lucia in bringing us here and providing us the opportunity to come and invest, it made it easy for us.
The company plans to employ over 750 people, 400 at this facility and another 350 at a second location. CEO Yoni Epstein says the company is looking for workers skilled in general customer service.
So we know that the BPO industry here is in its infancy stage, and we need people that have general customer experience, can help customers through issues, can make reservations, can help the people design photo books, all kinds of things, deal with a supermarket listing, because we have about 4 or 5 different clients that we're bringing here initially.
Some residents in the south welcome new job opportunities now that Coconut Bay has made some 400 workers redundant.
I feel it's a really good initiative that now they've brought down, we had a call center down here already, but an additional one is like a plus for us. And I think presently a lot of the unemployed are going to be hired, which is good enough now that, Coconut Bay is, we don't know when it's going to be opened as yet, but I think it's really good. And that just being in there and seeing what's in there, the setup and everything, it's really, really good. And I think a lot of our young people should really go ahead and aim for it, apply, get something going.
Invest St. Lucia was instrumental in assisting ITEL BPO set up shop here. Other residents have touted the partnership.
The experience was a great experience. It was very interesting. I think it's a good thing Invest St. Lucia did, joining with ITEL BPO to open this investment.
Some have argued that ITEL BPO's job fair was misleading, as people only dropped off their CVs when they could have applied online. The Jamaican company will host a similar exercise in the north on Friday, July 17th at Point Seraphim. The business process outsourcer also has branches in Jamaica, the Bahamas, the US, Canada and Mexico.
And this is really just to show how in the South we hear a lot of things. People will tell us, you're the new frontier, and they have new ideas, and right now it's call centers, and you put that in the South and you tell people to come. And I remember hundreds of people, when there's any job, especially when the hotels were closed at the time, they came out. And this is not just ITEL BPO, but we know that the Ojo Labs as well in the South, they employ several young people. And of course, for many young people, at first you're happy about it, you are appreciative, you just want a job, you want to get out of the house. I know what it is to be unemployed, so whatever you get, you take it, and that's understandable. So when we're seeing ministers and we hear the praises, we hear the Prime Minister lauding the call centers that we have here and how they're employing so many different people. But when we say that, and when we hear that, I want you to understand that it's not just numbers we're speaking of here, that there are actual people whose dreams and their aspirations are linked with, this job. So it might be good for political reasons to say certain numbers, but these are people's lives. So when we're talking about jobs in the call centers, I do think that it is important to hear what people have to say. And I think one former worker at Ojo Labs did have some issues, so we're going to take a listen to that now.
A former call center employee is warning young people to be mindful after she says she was suddenly and inexplicably terminated well before the end of her probation period. She asserts that several of her former colleagues also suffered a similar fate. According to the young woman, she was employed at a call center in the south of the island on a one-year contract and was told that she would be subject to a 6-month probation period, after which point she would undergo an evaluation to determine the continuation of her employment at the company. However, she says she was shocked to learn that she was suddenly out of a job without what she considers a valid explanation.
They go about hiring lots of people and you actually get fired in the same breath, right? Within a few months, you get fired. And then the reason for that being you're told that you're not, it's like you're not with company. And also they do say that your performance is actually being examined, and then it's like if you do not meet company's goal or company's requirements, then they just lay you off like that. And I think it's unfair because if someone's contract is a year, I believe you need to give that person a year. Or if you don't want to give that person a year, you stick to the 6-month probation. And it's sad that the 6 months wasn't even up yet.
While recruitment drives for such companies usually attract hundreds of eager young people, the former employee says the opportunity may not be as attractive as it seems.
It is sad because, most persons, you have no call center experience, right? Persons like myself and lots of persons that have been employed, we do not have call center experience. So in order for that person to become a better CER, which they consider us, you need to give that person some time. That person won't be perfect in a matter of in 2 months. I'm supposed to move up a tier in months. As soon as possible. You need to. If you cannot move up a tier, boom, they get rid of you. They don't give you time. They don't give you time to actually learn. They don't give you time. You get written warnings for like the simplest things. You don't even get a verbal warning. I know in order to get a written warning, there needs to be a verbal warning. No, with that company, it's not.
While the individual says she has been coping well, she claims that several of her former colleagues have suffered abrupt terminations which have resulted in significant financial and mental implications.
I just believe that it's just really sad, and I think the youth out there, everybody should know about this job. Everybody should know about it because the way they just go about laying people off and just terminating out of the blue. And this, there is this friend of mine actually had a nervous breakdown because you've been given a contract and you're being told that it's going to be for a certain period of time. And the message I'm putting out there, I just want persons to know that this job, as much as it may sound exciting, it is not secure. This is not a secure job. It is not secure. And one message I also have out there to persons that are applying, do not try your best. Do not go into any debt. Do not take anything on hire purchase. Just don't do it.
The individual acknowledged that while the experience is valuable, she believes that the company should be more respectful towards local employees.
The experience was great. It is a great experience. But I just believe that we are treated like trash. We are treated like trash. And it's sad that this company is a US-1 company. Those Americans, I highly doubt that they actually get treated like that. And nobody wants to speak out. Nobody wants to say anything. You just get terminated and that's it. No one says nothing about it. And they hire lots of people and they fire you in the same breath.
Locally, the majority of call center employees are not represented by trade unions. Reporting for Choice News Now, I am Amani Mathre.
I think with everything that we've seen, it's more about, what looks good. Take the pictures, put it on Instagram, that kind of thing. Say the right words. But when it comes down to substance, when you're saying that you're employing young people in this country and people in the South, that is how they're being treated. And I've heard I've heard that before, but I think this is the one person, at least for now, who has decided to come out to say it. That you are in a situation, you're in a situation where you are desperate. And I don't know whether you know what that's like. You sit down in your parents' house, you finish school, or maybe you didn't, but you're there and you're desperate and you want a job, and people tell you to come and you put on your clothes and you find the clothes and you borrow from your cousin if it fits in or do something, and then you go and look for a job and they tell you that you're hired for a year at least, and then you are dismissed with no warning, no writing, no write-up, no nothing. They just tell you that you didn't cut it and you're gone. You're not unionized or anything. It's wrong. It's wrong because we keep using young people. And yes, the numbers will be nice when you start to say this call center hired 1,000 people. But when you hire 500 the first time and within 2 months, you let them go and hire another 500, all that is the same vegle conman. Listen, this is about dignity, I think. It continues to be about dignity and how people feel about themselves. Everywhere we turn, especially in the South, you get in canals, you know, there's nothing there for you. They have to go and get foreigners to work there. Stop coming here in the South and vegling people, and that is how they're being treated. When the girl says, when this young woman says, a friend of hers went through a nervous breakdown, do you understand what that is? Do you understand when you do not have power and you don't have godmother, you can't call nobody, nobody can drop in a favor for you, and you don't want to live like that? You go through your application, you got a job, you have your pride, your parents are happy, you know, you can help pay a light bill, you can help do something for somebody, and you're just going to fire people. So, but then we're going to play like, you know, everything's fine and the employment situation is great. I'm tired of y'all. I'm tired of the way that young people are treated and used and manipulated. You're standing in the hot sun to look for a job. You're doing all kinds of things. Meanwhile, Fortuna can go and tell the Prime Minister she wants her husband to be a driver. The woman telling you her warning to other young people getting a job is to not go and take anything higher purchase because you will not stay there. Is that what you call job? Is that what you call employment? And you want to come and talk about disrespect when people work in step? This is disrespect. I don't know what kind of investments you people try to get from wherever. DSH is useless. This call center, if that's how they treat people, and I know personally from personal accounts that, you know, you go to these places in the call centers, and yes, there's a, you know, you can play table tennis, you can do whatever, they'll give you food. Respect them in a way that matters. And then you're going to talk about Invest St. Lucia. You know, the name, it makes you think, you know, it has the St. Lucia name and the Invest. You're thinking that they're there for you. But they're not. This is what they had to say.
Are some call centers recruiting large numbers only to let employees go within short time periods? We begin tonight with this report from Amani Masre, who recently questioned the government's official investment promotion agency about employment trends at some call centers on island.
Thank you for calling the Customer Service Department. My name is Genevieve.
It's the nature of the business. This response from Invest St. Lucia in the face of claims that specific call centers on island appear to be hiring and rapidly firing young employees in large numbers. Speaking at a recent press conference, CEO Roderick Cherry touted that under Invest St. Lucia's facilitation, the local business process outsourcing sector witnessed, quote, unparalleled growth during the pandemic. According to Cherry, that sector contributed 771 new jobs to the island last year, with call centers such as ITEL BPO creating 450 new jobs, while KM2 Solutions provided approximately 200 new jobs. Yet, despite this job creation, concerns remain over the alleged high turnover rate at these institutions.
The nature of the BPO sector is that they solicit clients international clients that that tell them that they need a certain number of people with whatever skills. The BPO sector, if the skills are possessed by those people, that by their current employees, they try to utilize them. But in most times what they do, they train those people for a specific client. So what you would find within that sector is that if the business, if the BPO operator is no longer have a particular client, then whole sections may be let go at any one time.
Cherry emphasized that the skills attained are transferable.
They are normally able to get employment again when another client comes in. So that is the nature of it, and that was particularly seen last year with the growth. But with the growth, there was a lot more demand for skills. But in a down economy for BPO, we can see large numbers of people, becoming unemployed. But as I said, they have transferable skills. That is just the nature of that business.
Chairman Pinkley Francis also responded to concerns that employees face undue pressure to attain and perfect a new skill set within short time frames. This was expressed in a recent Choice TV News item, which featured a young employee who claimed she was unjustifiably fired from a call center in the south of the island well before the end of her 6-month probation period.
Clearly, as an outsourcer, you are being held to very, very high standards. Otherwise, you're going to lose the client. And it's incumbent on the employees to make sure they step up. And one of the things we have done as well at Invest St. Lucia is to do a skill set analysis or skills gap analysis to see where the shortcomings are and how we can help in making sure we train the young people so that they are ready for that sort of environment. I get a number of those calls as well from people who said, well, I was working at this call center and they sent me home, and I say, why? Well, a lot of stuff, because sometimes you are required to work X amount of hours and you are being paid by the hour. Right, and they look for a certain level of productivity, and if you are not getting it, then they have no choice but to let you go, right? And I understand that, but like Mr. Cherry said, this is the nature of that job. But we have a lot of confidence in that sector, yes, and we believe it will grow, and we simply have to prepare our people to change the mindset to exist and succeed in that sector.
According to Invest CEO, the sector is expected to see continued growth locally, with call centers such as ITEL BPO projecting 400 new jobs in 2021 and Ojo Labs projecting 150. While the recent growth in the sector has been concentrated in the south, Invest St. Lucia also anticipates continuous expansion of call centers in the north. For Choice News Now, Amani Mathre reporting.
So now we hear that it's the nature of the business, that, large numbers of people will be unemployed within 2 to 3 months, even though their probation is 6, even though they're not given any written warning or anything of the sort. They will be let go because that is the nature of the business. And then you take another 300, take another 200, and just put it all together and say, you've given thousands of jobs, when that is not the reality. It is, I know. And I know what it is to feel hopeless. And again, I just want to thank the woman who did speak. I know that you want to maintain you don't want people to know your identity, and I appreciate that, I understand that. But we're seeing young people continually just being used, I think. And I cannot take kindly to that, especially when we have Pinkley Francis and what's his name, Cherry. This is not how you respond to hundreds of people who are becoming unemployed by saying that's the nature of the business. Their hopes are high. The people tell you they take, you do certain things, you try to help your parents, even your parents, I think, when you get your first job when you're young, your mother will see something looking like you, she'll buy a top hat hobby. Everybody, the whole family coming together because you have a job. These things matter. Dignity matters, and I don't think that you guys get it. I think many of you guys, maybe you've worked so much in the, you get a blind there from somebody that you don't understand what it means to work on merit, to send a job the fair way, the right way, get a call back, take, you know, pride in your job. I think that's lost. It's lost on many of you. I don't know. We'll open the lines at 572-7588. We'll discuss anything that you want to. And yeah, that one hit me because, like I said, you have to know where you're from and you know what things mean. You know, when you get your first job, when you're young, your 20s or whatever, and especially when you get a job in Vieux-Fort too, maybe you're from the area, you don't have to take a long bus to Castries. These things do matter. And I think on the surface level, we get, you know, the Prime Minister talking about it. But you guys don't understand. This is a game to you like many other things. It's just, you know, for people, the owners of ITEL BPO and Ojo and whatever else, whatever call centers. And we, again, I am not afraid to say it. I know people who work there, and this is not how you treat young people. It's not. And yes, we need a job. Yes, young people need a job. But they also need to work with respect. You cannot fire somebody and there's no justifiable reason given to them. And not just one, several at the same time. And to say that's the nature of the business. But it's not, you know, I don't know. I say these things matter to me because I remember one time I was in Italy and we were doing something for university and it was the UN convention or whatever. And I was there and the Pope was there. And at the time I felt overwhelmed, like, what am I doing here? So I go in the bathroom and I start to cry, like, Sana fela, where's all these Sana fe plasemuna? And I think there are times when people feel this, and I read on it or whatever, it's called an imposter syndrome. But I do feel that even here, we feel that we're like, what are we doing here? For many young people, they must feel that, like, what are you doing here? And I remember I called my mother and I say, Mommy, I want to come home and not go there, whatever, these white people. I don't feel at home, that kind of thing. And she told me, you know what, you know, giving you encouragement. And for me, I feel that I want to encourage young people that, yes, if you want to work at a call center, do what you have to do, Mama, do what you have to do, my G, and make your money. But that doesn't mean that this is where you'll stay. And I want the government, I want the people who are in authority, the people who have the power to understand that too. We are not there to be your butlers and just your servants and, you know, in these servile industries. We're not. Stop making people make millions on our head and we have nothing to show for it. We can't even get land to build a little piece of house on. Good morning. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Hi.
Yes. This situation with the call centers, yes, good morning.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, this situation with the call centers, the employment at the call centers, this has actually really, really hurt me. And I'll tell you why it hurts me. Now, the International Journal of Labor Research describes that kind of employment as what you call precarious employment, right? And it says that kind of employment encompasses the range of employment relationships which deny workers essential job security, embody unequal treatment with respect to the wages and benefits of permanent workers, and deny them the same protection permanent workers have through their collective bargaining agreements. That is. And that fits exactly what that kind of employment is. Mm-hmm. Now, recently we have heard this official of Invest St. Lucia saying, well, look, this is simply a matter of it's the nature of the job, etc., etc. And again, these people have no feeling. They're cushy in their jobs which have, I suppose, they have their conditions in which they move out with great conditions and so on. But here are young people looking to trying to ensure that, look, they build their hopes, their dreams, their futures on this. And then all of this is dashed. And we have a prime minister and other people come and say, oh, you know, hundreds of jobs are being created, but they are not telling us what is the true nature of the job, as now Invest St. Lucia is coming out and saying. Now, we will be told that these employees had to be dropped because they were not able to meet the standards demanded by the job, or because of the frequent ebb and flow and for their rudimentary skills. And this is often at the mercy of the next, what they call it, the next campaign that the employer was able to secure. This, of course, is a far cry from the misrepresented grandeur of the high-paying jobs in artificial intelligence that we were promised by the Alan Jasney government. So let us be frank with our young people. Now, I am sure, Tresha, that you will recall that one of the nice programs put in by the last administration was that it was unsustainable. Now, this was so much hogwash because this was just a smug and completely disingenuous argument against a program that, quite apart from being sustainable within the context of the ongoing social programs that are critical in a developing society, aimed at both the soft and technical skills that are in fact transferable beyond the immediate activities that these people might now be engaged in. And so what do they replace that with? They replace that with call centers that we are told that are so great and that people will earn, etc., etc., etc. Look, my take on these call centers, as I have seen it here, I have seen it in the United States, I have seen it in other countries, these call centers, when they are examined objectively, are simply the old 807 garment factory type electronic components assembly activities, a la Bell Fashions, data delay devices, etc. That is all it is. And our young people are unsuspectingly being, of course they need a job, so they are being wooed into this. And that is why I am putting so much store on the development of that idea that the present opposition has, that Philip JP and the present opposition has, in terms of the youth economy and getting the youth involved in activities, one, that are satisfying to them, and two, in activities that can help build the economy, and three, activities that in building an economy which we are developing for ourselves are sustainable. As I can see, this kind of 807 type operation, which is what these call centers are, is simply a matter of the international corporations that, exploiting the labor of our young people, and just as the old garment factory type operations, eventually they will move on when they get
when they've sucked everything already from you and there's nothing else. Thank you very much, Cole. I appreciate it. Thank you for your call. And I do remember too, and we've had that discussion, you know, when there was the Ojo Labs and the Prime Minister, and then there was a young girl from Sir Arthur Lewis. I don't know if you guys remember that. And they were saying that Sir Arthur Lewis, had he been here, would have said that this would have been a great investment by industrialization by invitation. You know, that Sir Arthur Lewis would have loved the idea of Ojo. You know, man. Good morning, Ton. Good morning.
Morning, Tresha.
Hi.
Hi. Tresha, the first caller was absolutely right. These call centers, which the Prime Minister is encouraging or urging to come to St. Lucia, are nothing more than glorified sweatshops. And anybody who wants to know what a sweatshop is, can you look it up online? Just Google sweatshop, one word. Those business establishments offer, or they are characterized by long working hours, low wages, and poor working conditions. And to add insult to injury, the Prime Minister introduced Ojo Labs to St. Lucia. And as far as we know, we're the ones, the taxpayers of St. Lucia, are the ones who are more or less meeting the costs of operation for Ojo Labs. So whilst Ojo Labs is making its money, raking in its profits, we're the ones meeting most, if not all, of the costs of Ojo Labs. So this is stuff about, those call centers. Those call centers, I repeat, are nothing more than glorified sweatshops. And anybody who wants to know what a sweatshop is, just Google sweatshop, one word. Thanks, Tresha.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We just continue, in my mind, to just see more of the manipulation and exploitation of young people. And with the call centers, I think we're seeing that. And it's difficult. It must be difficult as a young person, and that's all you're in. So you just want to shut up, keep your head down, do your work, make your money, and just stay quiet and do what you have to do. But I just feel that we're supposed to be getting an honest depiction of what's happening here, of what young people have to go through. Even when you think you get a job and at least some of your worries are over, it's just beginning, because the uncertainty of it all, it's really, really, it's really sad to see, really sad. And to hear people, again, this woman spoke, but there are others who feel the same way, they've been fired the same way, but they're afraid. And, it must be difficult too, because you're out of a job, it's not right, but you're still afraid to speak out. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Trisha?
Yes?
Can I make a contribution to the program, please?
Yes, you can. Go ahead.
Okay. I heard the two callers call concerning the young people, what the opposition have for the young people. I'm hoping and praying that the young people are listening to your program, and I'm also hoping that the Labour Party is giving all the play or the exposure of the program that they have for the young people. Because I believe from the conception of it, that is a very good program for the young people. Because it is high time for us to stop politicians, people who have no heart for the marginalized and people who need a job to help themselves and the children and the parents. I only hope that they will support that program of the opposition. And also, I'm hoping the young people that the opposition has selected for that race, I only hope that is selling that message well, not in a form of bluff, but for the people to see, the young people to see, so that we can see our talent, the talent of our young people. And I only hope that they put the young people that the Labour Party have choose or to have elected to bring that forward for them and for us and for our country. Also, I want to wish also the young man from Mikud North all the best, because this man is I just cannot understand myself up to now to see a man with that kind of spirit, and I only hope the young people follow this young man, that kind of vision that he has. You understand? I'm wishing the young people. Well, my time is going out.
Okay.
I'm only hope they pave the young. In fact, they pave the way for the young people, especially have some young boys and girls coming up, so that they could also have a part to play in that economy of St. Lucia. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Let's play the other clip, because since we're talking about exploitation of young people, let's look at it in its most blatant and disgusting form. And the person is coming from, I guess it isn't surprising. Let's take a look.
Hi everyone, I'm Amira Seri and I'm a student at the Monipo Pasias Combined School. I'm in grade 6 and my teacher is Miss Stanislas. My favorite subject would be math. I don't normally like it, but my teacher makes it finds a way to make it fun. I also love the positive quote she put up all over the walls. It reminds me to keep going. Also, the new wing is very impressive. The balcony is very large. So at break time, I can eat my snack and, go for a nice little walk. I also like the size of the classroom, so I'm not sticking on anybody because, 6 feet apart. Before, it was a rocky ride coming to school when I normally take the bus, but now the drivers don't have any complaints now that the district rep fixed it. Before, it was like a rocky, stony road, a dirt road, but now that they fixed it with some concrete and nice tools, it's a smooth ride. I may even fall asleep.
Thank you, Dr. Rigobert.
Now, before we get into any of that, I just have to say that is one of the cutest little girls that I have seen and heard. You sound really smart. You are funny. Listen, yeah, I smiled unconsciously at that. That's nice. That's nice. Keep it up. Keep it up. But what I'm saying is, Gil, that was it like to take them and put them as part of your campaign, your propaganda, putting it out there. Why isn't it, if you're doing what you're doing, Mama, it is campaign season, elections coming, do what you have to do. Why must we use young people from that age to, yes, the ages where you are at ITEL B Pro and onward, continuing to use people? That cannot be right. How could you do that in good conscience? And I need to tell this young lady too, even from now, that, the district rep didn't fix your road. Your mother's money and your father's money and people's taxpayers' money, taxpayers made that happen. We cannot continue to inculcate these things into our young children's minds so then they end up, God forbid, young smart girl, young smart boy will end up like, what's his name? The wild guy. What's the wild guy? Champagne. End up saying, wow, wow, for everything, somebody says. Or the Prime Minister says. End up being Norbert. End up being, what's his name? Ring the bell. End up being Minerva. We don't want that. We don't need any more of the party hacks that don't have a mind of their own. Stop it, please. Okay, we've come to the end of the show. I know I was in my feelings today. Sorry about that. But I hope to see you guys tomorrow. We've come to the end of the show. I want to thank all of you for watching, for listening, for calling. And we'll continue to look at, a lot of these issues in the way that they need to be looked at, with a lot of honesty and sincerity and, no matter what, no fear. Have a good one.
I can't